Welcome to @Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Let's get a refresh on the top Arizona news of the week.
With Pope Francis bringing a message of helping the poor, our investigative team is looking into impoverished areas here in Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Sonny Scott takes an in-depth look at one of the communities in the valley coping with chronic poverty.
According to the National Center for Children in Poverty, about 400,000 children in Arizona live in poverty. That's about 26% of all kids. But in the small town of Guadalupe, nearly half of them live below the poverty line. And our investigation found it's not only about being poor, but also finding a way out. From the luxury landscape of the Arizona Grand Resort and its finely landscaped golf course, you can see the town of Guadalupe, one of the poorest communities in Arizona. Its houses run down, some made out of adobe, plywood, or just plain straw siding. For more than a century, Guadalupe has been the homestead for the Yaqui tribe and other Hispanics. Nearly all of them are persistently poor. David Verdugo has been in Guadalupe all his life and lives with his grandmother. Poverty is all he knows.
I just thought it was normal to start growing up and realizing, oh, we're poor.
Verdugo is part of a youth group program to connect kids back to their culture and makes them less likely to get involved with drugs or alcohol. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 31% of the estimated 6,000 people in Guadalupe are living below the poverty line.
Poverty, though, is so vicious that it doesn't allow people sometimes to get out from under its thumb. And people sometimes get so worn down they don't even see the possibilities of how to escape poverty.
Garcia says half of Arizonans living below the poverty line are Latino, and many won't achieve a high school or college education. Having a higher education is a difficult challenge here in Guadalupe. 53.9% of the people have a high school education, but only 5.3% have a bachelor's degree or higher.
And Arizona is going to drop to a second or third tier state, and it could be on a permanent basis if we don't correct it. Education is the great equalizer when you come out of poverty.
Marina Gonzalez started an after-school program because parents wanted educational tutoring.
Over half of the kids in Guadalupe will not graduate high school, and our goal is to make sure every kid in our program graduates.
She says it's difficult to keep students in school and keep them focused.
Education is one big problem. A lot of our kids are below grade level.
At Frank Elementary, the only school in the town, nearly 90% of the students qualify for free or reduced lunch, and their first language is Spanish.
If they don't close the gap early, by the time they get to high school, they're very frustrated, and they tend to drop out.
Anita Soto helps out at a local youth group program that tells a different story about this isolated community.
But you got to see beyond the dilapidated houses, beyond the little stores. You got to see the in-depth, our heart. Look at our heart.
She says the town stays connected through their culture and faith.
Guadalupe is blessed, and the definition of blessed is empowered to prosper.
Verdugo wants to go to college and become a football player, but caring for his grandmother is his full-time job now.
She's everything. She's my inspiration.
Verdugo believes one day soon he will leave Guadalupe and start a life of his own.
You guys just seem like so happy. I want to be like that, experience that kind of happy.
Unemployment and reliance on welfare also creates strain financially in areas like Guadalupe, since the state is hard-pressed to pay for new programs. That's leading some millennials growing up in poverty to look at life differently and the possibility of moving away from places like Guadalupe and getting better jobs. With the investigative team, I'm Sonny Scott, Cronkite News.
While the majority of the Arizona State Board of Education was at today's monthly meeting, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Diane Douglas, was not in attendance. Cronkite News reporter Aaron Johnson was in the meeting all morning and joins us live in the Media Center. Aaron?
Today's meeting was filled with agenda items concerning education funding, high school graduation requirements, and student-teacher safety. But members of the board still took note of missing members. Superintendent Douglas, ASU President Michael Crow, and layperson Chris DeSheen were all absent from today's meeting. As each agenda item was discussed, the meeting paused several times. Board members expected Douglas to offer input and facts on several items, and her absence was noted. Fellow board member Charles Schmidt stated that her role as Superintendent of Public Instruction is vital to move forward and help kids of Arizona.
The board needs to have Ms. Douglas involved. I have a great deal of respect for her, but in this case, I think she needs to be a part of those meetings, and I think it was very clear from the board today that we need her involved as we move forward, and it's my hope that from today's meeting, she'll get back involved.
When asked why Superintendent Douglas was not at today's meeting, Deputy Public Information Officer Charles Tack sent this statement, which reads in part, "She is not always able to attend every meeting of every board, and always considers the matters being discussed when finalizing her schedule. Today's State Board of Education agenda was once again full of items that will not positively impact Arizona students." The statement went on to say that Superintendent Douglas was working to finalize her comprehensive education plan. She's expected to unveil that plan at a news conference on Thursday. Reporting live in the Media Center, Erin Johnson, Cronkite News.
So water conservationists say education is everything when it comes to preventing water waste. Knowing when and how to use water at home can save thousands of gallons each month. Cronkite News reporter Audrey Wheel joins us with some water conservation efforts.
The Arizona Municipal Water Users Association, also known as AMWA, offers free audits in its 10 member cities across the state to help homeowners conserve. I joined an auditor in Gilbert to learn how this program works.
When it comes to water, every little bit adds up.
2 gallons in 26 seconds.
That's why AMWA cities have water conservation specialists who conduct free audits for homeowners.
So if they do have problems, hardware malfunctions, they're going to know what to correct. And if it is just plain overwatering, how to get their watering dialed in with their actual landscape water needs. So they're going to see lower consumption, which of course turns into lower water bills for them.
These specialists check consumption reports twice a month, and if they see spikes in use, they contact homeowners. But in some cases, it's the homeowners who recognize the increase first. Tim Holmes noticed he was using a lot more water now than he did this time last year.
I think that there's a lot more to know about it than most people are going to devote the time to find out. I personally would prefer going to a professional that is trained in this, knows what they're doing, and say, go do it.
It turns out he was using about double the amount of water he should be.
I'm very glad that he came out here, gave me an education. I'm committed to getting this fixed right away.
Auditors say that generally 50 to 70% of water is used on the landscape. You can determine how many gallons per minute your sprinkler is using by opening up your water meter and using a stopwatch.
A complete rotation on the meter is 10 gallons or 10 cubic feet of water, depending on your meter. As beneficial as these audits are for the homeowners, they also serve a greater purpose.
The more water that we can keep in the reservoir by not using more than what we need, the further we can get through these extended drought conditions without causing any issues on our people's lifestyles or the economy.
In Gilbert alone, these water audits save on average 40 to 45,000 gallons of water per home per year.
After making his historic speech to Congress in D.C., Pope Francis traveled to Philadelphia, where he held Mass on Sunday. During his visit, he also spoke about the importance of bringing together family and faith. Cronkite News reporter Elizabeth Blackburn was in the city of brotherly love and said crowds attending in Philly were enthusiastic and welcomed the Pope.
Hundreds of thousands of families from around the world came here to Philadelphia. And of the Arizonans that we spoke to, many people say that this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience and a moment that they will never forget. The atmosphere was contagious as crowds of people sang, danced, and cheered through the streets of Philadelphia. And Mesa native Kimberly Robinson was a part of that crowd.
Really just a great atmosphere of everybody's just smiling and just having a good time.
She traveled to the Festival of Families with her mom, Dottie, who got the trip as a birthday present from her children.
It's just an honor to be here and meet all different kinds of cultures, different kinds of religion. You don't have to be a Catholic, but it's just the people around here, they're just really, it's just exciting, good spirits all over.
Michael and Sharon Phelan traveled with their 6 kids from Arizona for the World Meeting of Families. They were headed to Mass on Sunday and want the message to go beyond Philadelphia.
So to be here to experience the World Meeting of Families with our own family and then with our Catholic family and brothers and sisters from around the world is really overwhelming. And to be with our Pope today, who loves us and is teaching us at every moment, is really overwhelming.
For many people, this experience left a lasting impact, including Elizabeth Nance from Gilbert, who got last-minute tickets to the Mass for her family.
I'm still overwhelmed, and it's just been such a blessing, and it's just been surreal, like to see him so close and to have my Catholic faith just come full circle.
In Philadelphia, I'm Elizabeth Blackburn, Cronkite News.
Yelp can help people find reviews on restaurants, auto repair shops, and hotels. But if you had the chance to use Yelp when it comes to finding a healthcare provider or hospital, would you? Cronkite News reporter Lauren Michaels took a look at how online comments are evolving when it comes to your healthcare.
Yelp, a star review site and mobile app, has partnered up with an investigative journalism company called ProPublica to make medical data easily accessible to the public. It's the first time such information is available at the touch of one's fingertips. Patients are now able to see detailed information about hospitals, nursing homes, and clinics on Yelp. Many feel this partnership is positive.
It's a good thing anytime you can take publicly available information but make it more accessible and usable to the public.
And a movement.
This is definitely a trend for the government being more transparent, and then, the public, I think, demanding more information at their fingertips.
ProPublica is helping by providing health metrics as well as information from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for about 250,000 hospitals and medical facilities across the U.S. In addition to the Yelp reviews, the app will now provide information such as doctor communication, quiet rooms, wait times, patient survival rates, and fines paid by nursing homes. As of now, Arizona ranks low in providing such detailed information. Dignity Health declined to comment on this topic, but Banner Health wrote in a statement that they believe consumers make better choices when they're well informed. Medicare.gov data updates every quarter, so we can expect to see more information about our medical centers very soon. In the Broadcast Center, I'm Lauren Michaels, Cronkite News.
According to Fanatics.com, Arizona State football jerseys aren't even in the top 200 of the NCAA's jerseys sold.
Cronkite News reporter Rebecca Wynn found out what the factors could be for such low national jersey sale numbers.
Hats, t-shirts, and jerseys. With football season in full swing, local stores are stocked wall to wall with both Arizona State and Arizona Cardinals gear. But nationally, both Arizona teams rank low in overall jersey sales.
It's hot here, and so it's not really comfortable to wear jerseys. And if you compare us to other schools that sell a lot of jerseys, we're not high up there in jersey sales nationwide.
Local ASU apparel store, Cactus Sports, also says customers are asking for a better variety of jerseys to choose from. But that low national numbers don't allow him that option.
All these people are like, hey, how come there's not more numbers? Like, why can't you bring back Terrell Suggs' number or Jake Plummer's? It's because we don't sell enough jerseys to have multiple numbers.
It's not just Arizona State apparel that is affected by the low sale numbers. According to the NFL Players Association, 25 of the 32 NFL teams were represented in the top 50 jersey sales. The Arizona Cardinals were not one of them.
Sometimes it's hard to replenish it because we are the only ones that get it locally. You're not going to buy it in Pittsburgh, you're not going to buy it in Dallas because there's not really a Cardinal fan base. It's right here locally.
And while Arizona may be one of the only places to find Cardinals fans, you will also find lots of other fans too, which could be another factor to the lower jersey sales.
There's still a lot of Cowboys fans, there's a lot of Pittsburgh fans, there's a lot of people that come during the holidays that have retirement homes out here. Our #1 jersey sales is the Cardinals, but Just Sports is the team shop for everybody.
So Arizona fans stocking up on jerseys now is the only way to have more options in the future. In Tempe, Rebecca Nguyen, Cronkite News.
One player both Cactus Sports and Just Sports say is a popular jersey among ASU and Cardinals fans is a player they both share, Pat Tillman.
Bullying on the playground is a problem facing many schools across the country. Cronkite sports reporter Torrance Dunham has the story of one organization making a difference at a Valley school.
It wasn't safe, especially the playground during recess time. It wasn't a safe environment for kids. There weren't opportunities for them to engage in games. They didn't know how to play the games, and it was all in or all out.
Playworks is a nationwide nonprofit organization who is trying to buck this trend by putting coaches and coordinators in schools to change the climate during recess, which they say is the time of the day where most kids are bullied.
We teach kids the importance of rock, paper, scissors, conflict resolution strategies. We engage them in play and overall create a safe environment that is emotionally safe and physically safe for the kids at recess.
Since coming to Arizona 5 years ago, Playworks has partnered with 28 different schools, and studies have shown that schools that are partnered with Playworks see their bullying decreased by 43%.
We saw almost an immediate change. Within a few weeks, you could already see the kids were engaged in games because they had opportunities and they felt safe engaging in those opportunities.
Other organizations in the Valley are taking notice and getting involved, such as the Phoenix Suns, who were at the Loma Linda School on Thursday morning to interact with the children as part of the team's week of service.
What we're doing out here today is just continuing the good works that Loma Linda and Playworks have done. You know, if you watch the games, no matter what happens, it's high five, good job, nice try. You know, it's all positive. There's a lot of high-fiving, a lot of congratulating each other, and kids have unbelievable attitudes.
We're out here every day getting to see kids, you know, lives change through play and through fun, positive excitement. And then we love having the Phoenix Suns come out because obviously you can see the kids have a blast with all of these adults coming out here and playing with them. So it's really, really fun and extra fun to see the Suns come out.
Playworks hopes to be a part of 50 schools across Arizona next year. In Phoenix, Torrance Dunham, Cronkite News.
Arizona is considered one of the worst states with a local commitment for local food, meaning local farmers aren't selling as much produce to customers in their area. I visited local farmers markets and spoke to the founder of a website to learn more about how they are looking to change that. Sweet bell peppers, juicy tomatoes, and crisp heads of lettuce. At farmers markets across the state, these are some of the local foods you'll find.
It's healthy, it's vibrant, it's alive, it's colorful, it tastes good, and you just don't get that in the grocery store.
Shopper Eric Rodemaker explains why he's up early at the Roadrunner Park Farmers Market in Phoenix.
Supporting the local agriculture community.
The support extends financially as well. A common misconception is that buying local food doesn't affect the state's economy, but that's not the case.
And the money stays here in the local economy, so as opposed to buying something at a national chain, you buy something locally, 75% of that money stays here in town.
And that's why there's a push now to make local food more available to Arizonans. Natalie Morris from Local First Arizona created the Good Food Finder to make finding local food easy.
I was really curious to see just how many small and medium scale food producers there were here in the state of Arizona, and I was willing to place a bet that we had quite a lot.
The website located nearly 200 Arizona farms and farmers markets alone, but Arizona still falls short on the national scale. The 2015 Locavore Index found that of the 50 states and Washington, D.C., Arizona has the second lowest per capita sales for local foods. Morris thinks the website will help with that.
A place for farmers and food artisans in the state to be able to promote themselves.
And as the project develops, that's what farmers say they'll do. Starting in October, most farmers markets in the state are adjusting their hours for the fall season. For more information on hours and locations, visit goodfoodfinder.com.
Singer Carmela Ramirez is a pioneer in the Arizona music scene, mixing Latin jazz and salsa. Cronkite News reporter Erica Lang takes us to hear the unique style that's defying stereotypes and breaking down barriers along the way.
Carmela Ramirez's music reflects her bicultural background.
There was a tremendous amount of Spanish being spoken on the west side of Phoenix. There was mariachi music, there was Motown.
And there was her father's love of jazz.
My father really wanted me to do Latin jazz. If I wasn't going to do straight ahead jazz, he wanted me to incorporate the two.
Her band, Carmela y Mas, does exactly that, and more, which made it hard to attract a following at first.
It should have been Cuban or Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or Salvadorians or Peruvians doing this. And here's this Mexican girl from West Phoenix who wants to do Latin jazz salsa.
Ramirez sings in both English and Spanish.
There's so much that I can do.
But calls music a universal language.
It could be the poetry of the words that are in the song, or it could be the movement musically in the song. It does things to people, and I'm glad to be part of that.
In Tempe, Erica Lang, Cronkite News.
That's the way it was.
Ramirez recently retired after working with the City of Phoenix for 28 years. She plans to spend more time pushing the boundaries of her music.
At ASU, we believe the most important semester is the one that starts after you get your diploma, the one called life. So we work hard to help our alumni thrive, teaching them the importance of not only achieving their goals, but exceeding them. With innovative programs that embrace hands-on learning, that encourages real-world growth. Our alumni know it can be the education of a lifetime, for a lifetime. For more information, asu.edu.
I'm an urban gardener. I'm a PhD student in criminology law and society.
I have an expertise in construction history.
I also happen to be a swing dancer. Oh, and I'm a source.
And I really like being a source.
Great journalism requires great sources, and we want you to be one of them. Arizona PBS is building a network of viewers, people with insight into the stories we cover and the stories we should cover. Explore what it means to be a source for the Arizona PBS Public Insight Network at azpbs.org/pin. Are you a news junkie, history buff, science or nature lover? Then discover 8 World, an entire channel devoted to bringing the world home to Arizona. Watch 8 World on Cox 88 or over the air via antenna on 8.3. To find out how to tune into 8 World for your satellite or another cable provider, visit azpbs.org/world.
See this patio? There used to be a motorcycle sitting there, a bike I didn't use and didn't want, so I donated it to public television, and they took care of everything. In addition to supporting my favorite programs, I earned a tax deduction. Turn something you don't need into something you really want. Contact the Vehicle Donation Program.
Welcome back to @Cronkite News, our weekly refresh. Now, here's our digital download from cronkitenews.azpbs.org. The top clicks on stories, photos, and infographics making news across Arizona. Now, here's an @Cronkite News pick of the week, a favorite from the Cronkite News staff.
It's the beloved cartoon about the modern Stone Age family, but the future of one Arizona theme park based on these Hanna-Barbera characters of the past is rocky. Cronkite News reporter Lenny Wynn brings us up to date.
If you're driving to the Grand Canyon anytime soon, you might want to make a stop at this roadside attraction before it disappears. After 43 years of being open, Bedrock City is up for sale. I headed north to talk to theme park owner about the future of the Flintstones theme park.
Hi, Wilma.
Bedrock City is a place most people have only seen in cartoons. But if you make it up to northern Arizona, you can see the cartoon city for yourself. 30 miles south of the Grand Canyon, you can find what one visitor calls a different planet. You can visit the house of your favorite Flintstone character, watch old cartoons in the theater, and even slide down the tail of a dinosaur. Visitor Jared Elizaris says it was the giant Fred Flintstone that made him stop his car and check it out.
And I just thought it was worth stopping by.
But this may be one of the last times he or anyone else gets a chance to see this place. Park owner Linda Speckles says she's selling Bedrock City.
I'm an old lady. I need to move on with my life. But mainly I want to spend more time with my family, and I just haven't had time operating the business.
Her late husband built the park 43 years ago, and she's been running the place herself. She's not the only one moving on. RoadsideAmerica.com says attractions like this one have been disappearing from the American highways.
They're just kind of a sign of an older time when people would trek across the United States instead of flying. You would stop by any little thing that caught your eye.
As to the fate of the attraction, the owner says the new owners will have to renegotiate the licensing with Hanna-Barbera if they want to keep the Flintstones theme. She sees the property as a location for a new hotel or even a casino. Bedrock City is listed for $2 million. And one more interesting note, today is the 55th anniversary of the show's debut. I'm Linny Nguyen, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News tracks your likes, tweets, and shares from all our social sites to bring you this news special. At Cronkite News, our weekly refresh. Join the conversation so you choose the news. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org for top Arizona stories anytime.